Now to a Team 5 investigation that every parent should watch. The focus, kids with guns. The problem is stopping them from getting into our schools. News Center 5's Sean Kelly hit the books to find out which communities have confiscated the most weapons. And what he uncovered might actually surprise you.
A fifth grader arrested in Boston after packing a pistol in his backpack and taking it to class. In Leominster, 2 high school students caught with weapons and a hit list.
Everyone's obviously worried.
And in New Bedford, police arrested a high school senior for carrying a handgun inside his gym bag.
It's happening everywhere. This affects everybody.
There isn't one reason why kids bring guns to school.
Dr. William Pollack is a national expert on school violence. He says the reasons why kids carry guns to school vary greatly depending on where they live.
When people are using a gun in an urban environment to do business or to protect themselves, they're smart enough not to bring them into the school, and they're smart enough not to get caught. When kids are bringing guns into school in suburban, upper middle class neighborhoods, they're bringing them for a reason so that they will be seen.
Team 5 Investigates discovered that almost 300 guns were confiscated from schools over the last 3 years. And that includes handguns, shotguns, and rifles. We also found that many of the guns came from communities with few gun crimes, including suburban school districts like Framingham, Bellingham, Norwood, and Newton, twice named the safest city in America. And only 14% of kids caught in Massachusetts schools with a firearm were permanently expelled.
Kids are bringing guns to school either to threaten other kids or because they're so hurt, they're so angry, they're so bullied, they're so suicidal that they've come up with a solution, which is either to show a gun or use a gun.
But it's a different story in urban cities like Boston, where kids carry guns for another reason. This 16-year-old student told us he carries a small pistol for protection.
I'd rather get caught with it than caught without one, which means I'd rather the cops find me with it than my enemy find me without it.
This former gang member carries a .38 for the same reason.
I personally never brought it into the school physically.
Instead, he says most city kids stash their weapons outside schools, in bushes and in basements where they're less likely to be found.
How are 14, 15-year-old kids getting their hands on $150, $200 to buy a gun?
Like I said, kids start young. If you're in a gang or in a crew, it makes it easier.
Here in the suburbs, kids usually get their firearms from family and friends. And it's all too real to Reverend Sean Harrison, who counsels kids in crisis, trying to get them to give up their guns.
He called me last night, and I picked it up.
Just this week, another teenager turned over his pistol.
Do you ever ask them, where'd you get the gun?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them tell them they get them out of state. They go to the gun shows. They get them in New Hampshire. They get them from Vermont, even down south.
Can it be stopped?
You're looking at an ant trying to beat an elephant. You know, guns are always going to come in this city one way or another.
So are you the ant?
Of course. No matter how many guns we get off the street, if we take off 12 guns today, there's probably 24 more out there.
Police and prosecutors think that gun laws are weak and that kids are simply too willing to break them. And then there's another school of thought that says we just need to do a better job of communicating with children so that they don't resort to guns in the first place.